everybody. Today is Wednesday, the 4th of November, 2020. And we're here with Hardware and Robot.
Don't forget about Devember. Devember on the forum. You can become a developer and escape this, the economic wasteland. Move to Romania? I don't know.
You think there's a strong remote work thing in Romania?
There definitely is.
Hey, if you want to become a hacker, right? Well, but actually, there's probably a lot of competition there.
Yeah.
Gonna go someplace else. Well, the last episode we talked about more bad news for Intel, but gosh, the bad news that bad news was not directly related to a certain company, but come on. And this one is related for a different reason, a different company, but still the root of the problem, which is one company seems to be doing a really good job.
AMD's $649 Radeon RX 6800 XT will take on NVIDIA's RTX 3080. Also, AMD unveiled the Radeon RX 6800 and the more powerful Radeon 6900 XT. So Lisa Su did her presentation last week. It was pretty awesome. Competition's alive and well. I think things make a lot of sense because, you know, NVIDIA released their new RTX 3000 series GPUs. Normal people have not been able to buy them. NVIDIA hasn't even seeded the Z-list YouTubers. So that tells you something about quantity and availability and anything like that. And it's a mess. It's a huge mess. And so I guess Jensen knew before we all knew how good these things really are. And so based on NVIDIA's reaction, they're probably pretty good.
Chris, you joke about Lisa Su always just holding things up, and of course there's a picture of her holding it.
There is a picture of her holding it, yeah.
She looks so uncomfortable.
I mean, same, whenever I have to do it.
I mean, if she was, you know, going to school, like CEO school, and it's like you're going to have to parade around on stage with lights and random stuff, she's like, do what now? That's part of the role of CEO.
She's PhD, right? Like, she probably always thought, you know, I'll work in, like, a lab somewhere and, like, away from people, and now she has to give presentations to people.
But she has to feel pretty good holding up that video card, knowing that it's millions and millions of dollars in her pocket.
It is AMD is doing well innovation wise, but remember the 5th of November. I'm going to be at Micro Center tomorrow, so it's going to be amazing.
Now, NVIDIA, this is a rumor, by the way, but it seems like they might have had a couple of extra bullets in the chamber just in case those AMD cards were really, really powerful, and maybe because they weren't in some ways, they've decided to take those bullets out of the chamber because they can't make enough bullets as it is.
NVIDIA allegedly canceled the GeForce RTX 3080 20 gig and 3070 16 gig. Now, these cards were rumors to begin with, but the rumor now is that board partners have been told these are not coming. And, you know, the 3070 also launched last week. And the 3070 quantities were definitely higher, at least if the local Micro Center is anything to judge by. The local Micro Center had about 35 or so on launch day 3070s. On the 3080 launch day, they had 12. On the 3090 launch, they had 5. So the numbers are a little better, but still not great. They're sold out everywhere.
AMD is not sitting on all those piles of cash. They are looking to use them to expand and talk about looking into the future. Yeah. How about so far into the future that it's CPUs in space?
Xilinx. AMD has grabbed Xilinx for $35 billion as chip industry consolidation continues. Everybody's got a lot of hot takes on this one. Xilinx just won some awards for AI and computation and blah, 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 which means that by extension and vicariously, AMD has won those awards. And what's really interesting here is NVIDIA is going to have to do business with AMD because Xilinx is used in a lot of NVIDIA solutions. So that's neat.
The only chips that are radiation shielded for space. AMD in space. Financial Times paywall is just disgusting.
Oh, somebody offered to send us free subscriptions.
No, let's not do that. I should have just... I use the Axios article. If you're looking for the alternative, Axios. Look for the Axios article for the alternative here. But This has to do with Apple. Now, this is also a rumor, but it kind of makes sense because if you remember, one of the things that all these antitrust people keep, beating Google over the head with is, look how much you're paying Apple to be the number one search engine. How is this fair? What other search engine can pay these billions of dollars? So they might be forced to stop doing that, which is a big cash cow for Apple. So what do?
Apple develops an alternative to Google search so they can just make the money themselves.
What are they going to call it?
Probably Apple Search. I don't think they're going to go too crazy with it.
Suddenly that, conspiracy theory story about Germany looking into Apple and the advertiser IDs, and it's like, oh, we never leave that. One way that Apple could totally monkey's paw, the whole monkey's paw, it comes true in a horrible way. One way that Apple could maintain your privacy, but not actually maintain your privacy, is to just go to a company and be like, all right, mortgage companies, we will show your ad to anybody that's about to buy a mortgage. And they're like, who is that? How will we know? That's not for you to know. You just buy the ads from us. Technically satisfies user privacy, and Apple's still fully in control of everything. That would be like the search engine side of it as well.
Now, Apple has kind of soft denied this, but people have shown that their crawling activity has exploded lately.
Yeah.
Why would you want to crawl the entire internet? Maybe you're building a search engine. And also, they've added a new feature to the iPhone that uses their internal results rather than somebody else.
It's going to be called Apple Slice. Find the slice of the internet you're looking for.
It could be something to do with tree.
Oh, yeah.
Tree would be a good way to go. Roots. I think those called Apple Search.
Roots. Dig through all the muck to find the result you want.
Exactly. Well, Krista, you were looking at a lovely little ice cream sandwich style log cabin house. How's that going?
Yeah. My husband's not interested in that because it's a little far out. But it has internet. It has fiber internet.
Well, Krista, who wears the pants in that family?
We both contribute to the house fund. Equal rights in how it gets spent when we buy a house. I do love that house, though. It's incredible.
But the thing about that house, you got to give it's fiber internet. I mean, for a house like that on that kind of land, that is just a unicorn.
It's unheard of. I was like, we got to get it. They're having an open house this Sunday.
Oh, are you going to go? Oh, you're doing the other thing.
Yeah, I'll be gone.
You're wasting your life, Krista. Anyway, if you don't get that house, then you might be at the mercy of Mr. Musk's Starlink. And now we know what it costs.
SpaceX Starlink public beta begins. It's $99 a month plus $500 up front. It's better than nothing. Beta to have speeds up to 150 megabits and latency as low as 20 milliseconds. Listen, as somebody who has lived in those rural places, that's a steal.
Yeah.
That's a steal.
There's no question people will pay that.
There's a property that I'm monitoring that literally just has a 3 megabit connection that's just enough to upload pictures from the camera system when it sees motion to a central server, and about 3.5 megabit is the minimum that I need in order to be able to do that. And it costs $170 a month from the local cable monopoly.
Now they're calling this the better than nothing beta. So basically they're admitting it's not there yet. They have 800 satellites in the sky.
Yeah.
They're expecting 12,000 with this run and 42,000 eventually. And so maybe more than that eventually. And they're saying right now it'll work, probably, maybe not all the time, and it's maybe not going to be as good as we say it is ultimately, but this is the better than nothing beta. So, and a lot of those rural people, like you say, they're happy. They're happy with better than nothing.
3 megabit for $170 is the benchmark that you got to beat, and that ain't much. That ain't much to beat.
No one has gotten their. The $500 covers all the equipment, the little, base station and everything. No one's gotten one yet, but supposedly they will be shipping soon. Exciting. Now, here's the thing about Starlink, though, that it's not surprising, although I never thought about it. All of those satellites that you're going to launch, and they're so expensive each just to get them up there, you can't really count on 100% lifetime. Some of these will fail, and in fact, they have.
About 3% of Starlink satellites have failed so far. What does it matter when it doesn't cost anything to launch these things? Just hook them up there. Some of them die, no big deal.
So we're a little over 800. 3% would be 25 by my quick maths. That's probably wrong.
Yeah.
I think 25. So 25 dead Starlinks in the sky.
They've turned into bullets for the International Space Station that, probably bad for other satellites and literally anything else.
But when we go to the 42,000, that 3%, which is a pretty standard, I mean, that you can kind of expect that. They talk about that's going to be a lot more. And they talk about the Kessler syndrome, which is where one collision turns into 100 collisions, maybe.
Yeah, because little pieces fly everywhere.
And then every collision that results from that 100 collisions might become 100 more collisions. So what happens when we pollute the entire orbit?
That's a problem for a future generation, right?
They also
continue first.
You go ahead.
No, mine's not relevant to the article. It's just relevant to the website design. So.
Well, they suspect that the dead ones might hit the atmosphere eventually, but it can take up to 5 years.
They need to build in a watchdog circuit so that the dead ones can just, it's like head toward Earth.
Well, I don't think it's responding at all.
I mean, yeah, if it's a watchdog, it's like there's a very simple circuit. It's like, I haven't heard from anybody in a while. Time to self-terminate.
Well, I don't think it's as much like the communication system as just like nothing is happening.
They could build a failsafe pretty easily.
They got that the net system that's supposed to be coming. Oh, Crystal, what was your thing?
Okay. So this website, it's got the topics across the top in the black bar, right?
Okay.
But then you click on the topics at the top, and it's the same topics, but as a drop-down menu. And so I was like, oh, is that a bug? Is the mobile version of the menu showing up? But then when you go down to lower sizes, it's still there.
The topics hamburger?
I don't know that we're getting it. Oh, here we go. Okay, I see what you're saying.
You get more options when you hover over these, but like, why would you not just make this the menu full time?
That seems so bad that an agency came up with it.
It's just redundant. I don't understand. I thought it had to be a bug, but I think it's a feature. Strange, chat. Anyway, not really related to the article at all, but
Fizz.org. I hope you're happy with yourselves.
The rest of the site looks fine. I just thought the menu was weird.
The internet was greatly angered about the takedown of YouTube DL. I have to say, now I think the repositories still have it, right?
There's copies of it, but it's not on GitHub.
But can I install it just through the
repos? Yeah, for now.
So I use this constantly. Every time I mow the lawn, I'm using YouTube DL because I don't want to hit the data while I'm out there, and I'm too far away from the Wi-Fi out on on the property. I would be very angry if they got rid of this, and I would certainly not be alone.
The RIAA's YouTube DL takedown has ticked off developers and GitHub's CEO. So the RIAA has said YouTube DL, its only use is to infringe on music labels' copyright. They're on a tear. They must have gotten some fresh money from somewhere, or maybe they just got cabin fever from the pandemic or whatever. But the specific issues that they took with this is that the YouTube DL instructions, like general usage guide, one of their examples was like downloading a Taylor Swift song, and it's like, well, I guess that's not okay because technically that's copyrighted or whatever. And some of the code on GitHub also has some stuff for deleting YouTube's rolling cipher algorithm, which may or may not be actually circumvention under the DMCA. But what most people don't realize is that this type of DMCA notice is not actually eligible for a counter notice. So like normally with the DMCA, you can say, no, this has significant non-infringing uses, or this is fair use, or whatever. You can file a counter notice, and then GitHub is not responsible. It's up to the article author if the article author likes to do that. Well, this is a DMCA 1201 takedown. That's different. And that means that if GitHub reinstates this, then they will also be criminally liable, potentially, should things not rule in GitHub's favor, because it's so egregious that it has to be infringing. But the GitHub CEO has said, we're going to get this back, and maybe with some modifications.
There were some great responses to this. As you can imagine, the old Streisand effect hitting hard here. This is a pair of images that you can convert into the tarball to install YouTube DL.
Everybody remember the illegal prime number? There's a certain prime number that decrypts to a DVD decryption program.
So it's been mirrored everywhere. certainly no problem getting it, but I'm sure this will not be the last we hear.
This is not the last we're going to hear of the RIAA, even in this episode of the news.
They will not back down.
Or was that in nonsense?
They are just the worst kind of scum.
They really are.
There was not a lot to look forward to in November. Got to admit.
Right.
I mean, we do have some new hardware and stuff like that. Unless you're some of the people just.
I can't wait for tomorrow. I don't know what you're talking about. After tomorrow, I'm done. I'm done for the year.
Most people aren't going to run out and get it though. You're in your little bubble.
I am in my little bubble.
Not the real world.
It's definitely not.
And but one thing that everybody was looking forward to, at least most of us, I think, was a hot new video game, a new virtual world that we can live in as to escape this terrible world. But the news is dire.
CD Projekt Red has delayed Cyberpunk again. This is the third delay. It's not coming until November 20th.
December 20th. I think it's like December 10 or something like that.
It was delayed 20 days, I think.
People were very upset about this time around.
We have a story about that in the nonsense.
Yeah. People. Now, there's been reports that CD Projekt Red did away with crunch, and that's why we had one of the initial delays. But then there have been counter reports that they've been crunching all along.
Yes, I would believe the latter, because that's how it goes. It's like, oh, look, good news. We got a delay on the project. Work twice as hard.
This one, it does make me a little bit angry, and then the reasoning behind it has nothing because the game has gone gold, and I think they're even working on a day one
DLC
patch, not DLC, but a patch.
Oh, patch.
What's the problem here is that now we have so many new consoles and everything that they're trying to get it ready for all of everything for the same day.
The PS5 and Xbox One X people will just have to wait.
No, that's what they will not do.
Especially like people are gonna be getting those new consoles for Christmas. Like you can't do
right, yeah, and those consoles come out right around the original release date.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could probably have our PC version tomorrow, realistically, but no, they have to ruin it. Amazon, they obviously we've been looking. We want to do like the Twitch watch along thing. So we've been looking like, oh, what Prime videos? But we want to do one that's included with Prime, so people don't have to pay for it. And so many videos we look at are not included with Prime. It's like, oh, for sure they'll give us this one. No, it's $2.99. But here's the dark secret about that $2.99 that you spend.
Amazon argues that users don't actually own purchase Prime video content. It's a license, and it may be revoked at any time. So this woman is suing Amazon to get them to clarify, because in the terms of service it says, oh, we could just end this at any time. And you never know. I mean, look at Microsoft. Microsoft had their book service where you would buy a book for Microsoft, and then they just quietly turned that off one day. And ultimately, Microsoft did actually issue a refund to everybody that bought a book. But, Amazon, if they get into financial straits or it doesn't make business sense for them to offer this service anymore, if they were to end this service and also offer everybody a refund, that might be a non-trivial amount of money to Amazon. So they're just like, okay, let's hedge our bets. Let's not do this.
That might end up being something like, 1% of Bezos' wealth.
Yeah, I mean, but movie studios and stuff like that are not wanting to license content to Amazon Prime in the first place, because movie studios and the RIAA, they do not want you to own anything ever, under any circumstances. Being able to buy a disc, that's archaic. You cannot do with that disc as you please. We must control it after the sale. With first sale doctrine, forget it.
I feel like that's like a miniature version of our entire culture. They don't want you to own anything.
So true.
Ironically, much like YouTube, ripping the content from those streams, a lot easier than the DVD. But it's illegal. Don't do it. So, and the woman, so Amazon's counter, and I have a bad feeling about it because I think they're going to win, because her case is saying that she bought all these things, but the terms of service say that she can't keep them. However, nothing she's bought has ever been taken away from her. And here's the nail in the coffin. Since she filed this lawsuit, she's bought 13 more Amazon Prime videos.
It should be, I mean, it is kind of a property law thing. Should she be able to collect her property? Probably.
But she can't show damages. That's the legal problem that she's going to have. We'll see. I'm sure we'll have a follow-up on that. And, this is in the realm of, this is really cool, but it doesn't really exist yet. and it probably
Yeah.
won't for a while. But hey, when I'm old, I want to be in VR.
Yeah.
When my body's all broken down, I want to start abusing drugs and being on VR. That's what my old age needs to be.
Samsung and Stanford make a 10,000 pixel per inch display that could lead to flawless VR. So this is OLED, but this is not OLED like you're used to knowing OLED. There's a meta mirror, a panelization thing, an OLED stack, and then the capping layer. And what happens is these nanochannels prevent light of certain wavelengths from escaping. So you have a white OLED that ends up having all of its photons basically converted into whatever wavelength the nano gate is set up for. So the white OLED becomes blue or red or green. We get around the longevity problem that we have with blue OLEDs. So this could be an incredible display technology.
And importantly for VR, no more screen door. It will be realistic VR. I didn't notice the screen door as much when we used the VR.
Oh, you definitely notice it on first gen devices, but that second gen device that we got to use, it was definitely a lot better.
Here's one that might stir up some comments. Now, it is important to note, I imagine this has to be the current generation, not the beta,
Yes.
because they wouldn't have had access to the beta. So this is, maybe it gets better, although some of the videos I've been watching online I've been enjoying. Seems like that new Autopilot is not doing so well.
Consumer Reports, Tesla Autopilot is a distant second to GM's Super Cruise. Super Cruise uses eye tracking to ensure the driver is watching the road. That makes sense.
Now, there is a good argument against Consumer Reports here. Although at the same time, I don't know, I think you can definitely say that an autopilot that doesn't do as much, but also maybe doesn't kill you, is better. Right? Because the GM one only operates on certain roads, and they're all mapped out in advance. Like, they've done all this map work. So if you're not on one of the pre-mapped highways, there is no self-driving. Whereas Tesla's just like, we'll see what happens.
Side of a truck,
But, yeah. Consumer Report says that you can't get the Super Cruise on anything but a Cadillac at this point, I think. But coming soon, it's going to be on a lot of GM products.
There is a lot of the time that I do find myself preferring the product that has less functionality but more reliable functionality than a product that has more functionality but is flaky.
Especially when you're hurtling along the highway at 80 miles an hour. Critically important. Now, I have canceled Netflix. There has not been one time. I think I canceled it like 2-3 months ago. There has not been one instance, not a millisecond, where I said to myself, God, I miss Netflix. And this only galvanizes my decision. These numbers are getting into like totally unrealistic for me.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Cable package numbers.
Netflix is raising the price of its most popular plan to $14 today, and the premium tier increases to $18. Yeah, I don't... Netflix canceled Altered Carbon. They only did 2 seasons of it, and it was just starting to get good. I like the universe, but it's weird because the way that universe works is the same people are played by different characters, and I can understand that might not translate well to a television show.
Yeah. Now, is $14 is the HD one, right? Like the $9 one is just
Basics.
real trash.
720p or whatever.
Yeah. So, $14 a month and $18 a month, that's getting crazy.
What's Disney? Isn't Disney's absurd?
Yeah, Disney's is crazy.
What was Disney's? It wasn't that much, was it? Was it like 12?
I don't find Netflix's recommendation engine to be very good.
And when you get lost in just trying to dig up something, your free time is eaten up by trying to find.
Yeah.
Got a number for us,
It's
Kristen?
about the same, I guess. Wow. But that's like a limited time offer. Disney Plus is absolutely going up.
They all are, I suspect.
And then they also did the thing with Mulan where it was like, even though you're already paying for the subscription, you have to pay another $30 to see Mulan.
Yeah, well, the sheep will pay it. I was one of them for a long time. I'm so glad to be liberated. Grubhub. We've done stories about this before where Grubhub, there were restaurants, and one day they start getting bad reviews on Yelp or something like that. And I'm like, what? Wait, what? We don't even serve lasagna here. How are you attacking our lasagna? It turns out Grubhub gets a little creative.
Grubhub has been hit with a lawsuit for listing restaurants without permission. Business owners say they've criticized the practice because it causes significant damage to their hard-earned reputations. This article digs up some amazing examples. There were several restaurants on Grubhub that just don't offer any kind of takeout service at all. None. And yet the drivers are able to fill orders from there. Other restaurants were using outdated menus and pricing. Still other restaurants were in a situation where they were getting bad reviews, but the food did not actually come from that restaurant.
And obviously, they're pretty angry about that. Grubhub does not deny it. That was part of their business model. Now, their idea was, we will just work around it. Like, if somebody places the order, we will actually like send the driver to come and to either call you or come to the restaurant and place the order in person and then deliver it. Although, how can you make money sitting there waiting for food?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. But if you don't want that to happen, it's fine. Just contact us explicitly and tell us you don't want to be a part of it. But these restaurants had no idea. Yeah. So you're asking me to be proactive on something I might not even know about. Seems wrong. This one's really... Do you remember this headline?
Yes. Yeah.
It's, the Bloomberg... No script will defeat the Bloomberg paywall. Pro tip. I think we've said that before. So the console wars, these damn consoles, they've cost us Cyberpunk. But the wars are heating up, and they're not even out yet. How is that possible? Well, the darkness that we live in.
Sony's PlayStation 5 is hotter than the Xbox One X on the secondary futures market, I guess. I don't know. This is like a scalpers thing.
They call it the black market.
It's selling a little better. It's doing a little better on those secondary markets. So is that a predictor of things to come?
Bloomberg, it's not very woke to call it the black market, is it?
No. That's why I said it was like secondary market.
Oh, you're trying to get... don't buy into that. So yeah, it turns out that the scalpers, they scoop them up and they sell. I think in some cases you can sell the pre-order ID or something like that. In some cases it's just on eBay. It's like, when I get it, you'll get it. And it turns out Sony's killing them.
I've been following a website where they've been buying the $3,000 RTX 3080 and 3090s on eBay with like just throwaway eBay accounts and like dragging out the eBay thing to the maximum 14 days, and then they're allowed to relist it or whatever. But everybody that's been, trying to scalp 3080s and 3090s on eBay have been completely disrupted by a band of trolls. It's sort of been great.
It's going to make eBay lock down the account creation even more. TikTok is riding on their wave success, or ByteDance, that's the company. They've decided to expand their product reach beyond software. I don't understand the appeal of this. But hey, maybe I'm not a parent, and that's why I don't get it.
TikTok parent ByteDance launches its first gadget in a big education push. So it's this little tree thing with a light and a camera and a screen, and it helps make sure that children do their homework. How, you might ask? Well, what you don't see in the picture is a shock collar. And if the child moves out of view of the camera, they get a little encouragement shock to help them come back and finish their homework. No, I'm just making up the part about the shock collar, but that's the next logical step, is a Bluetooth shock collar accessory.
Now, how is this different than going to the dollar store and getting a $5 lamp and leaning my phone against it?
The lamps they sell at the dollar store actually have phone docks now.
So I don't even have to get like a rubber band. I don't understand it at all.
Yeah, I don't, and it's $119.
But apparently in China, because of the the work situation, the whole you're never allowed to go home thing, raising kids, a lot of people do like the FaceTime type of stuff, and I guess this helps with that.
Wow.
Krista, Microsoft, I'm sure you read the articles, right?
Oh, absolutely, every time.
The Microsoft is coming up with a big UI redesign. Can take your temperature on that. Sun Valley.
It's fine until you can use it. I mean, there's some screenshots in here, but not many.
Headline.
Oh, sorry, I didn't read it. Microsoft plans big Windows 10 UI refresh in 2021, codenamed Sun Valley. It wants to reinvigorate the Windows 10 experience.
They're working on this. They're not fixing any of the bugs with Windows 10.
It doesn't even look that different from what I can tell. It's just, okay, yeah.
I don't need more stuff in my soft keyboard. I don't need an emoji. Jesus Christ. An emoji menu?
With memes.
Clippy as one of their GIF options.
Oh, that's an Easter egg, Krista.
Oh, I guess this is the new
I'm
desktop.
not really excited about this. Does it really add a lot of value? Not really.
No. This is juxtaposed with 2020. It's like, the Windows XP was like the rolling hills, the grass. There's no threat at all, but there's a little bit of an implied threat in the new background.
Some storm clouds on the horizon.
Yeah. The terrain's a little rougher. It's going to take you a little longer to get from there to here.
I think that's a tree on the mountain off in the distance, but it kind of looks like a T-Rex if you squint.
I mean, you could still go anywhere you want today. Where do you want to go today? But it's going to be a little harder to get there in this kind of terrain.
Chrissy, you should take that image and Photoshop it so it is a little tiny T-Rex.
Just a little T-Rex.
And then we'll put that on the forum so people can use it. Zoom. This story is it's a little incendiary because it has to do with a very contentious topic, the old Israel-Palestine thing. And it seems like that was such a contentious topic that Zoom figured out that Zoom was being used, and they were just like, no, we're done, we're out. But being out is also taking a stand, and now they're catching flack for that.
Zoom deleted events discussing Zoom censorship. The action follows the company canceling an event at San Francisco State University where Leila Khaled was meant to give a talk. Zoom won't stand for that.
Apparently, Leila Khaled is a wanted terrorist in some parts of the world.
That seems controversial.
Yeah, I don't think we could take a stance either way without,
knowing more.
I'm just going to plead ignorance. I respect both sides of the conflict. You can't do that. People aren't happy with that. Mailchimp. So we have all these big tech companies, and they're taking a stand, and they're getting political and deciding who can be on their services. Patreon took some flack for doing that. Zoom, obviously.
Remember Visa going after people because people were sending money to WikiLeaks?
Yeah. So a lot of companies are just saying that, hey, if we don't like what you have to say, we're going to shut you down. Well, add another one to the group.
Mailchimp. Mailchimp? Mailchimp makes its censorship rules official, outlines right to ban users for inaccurate content. So if WikiLeaks was using Mailchimp, they would have been banned long ago.
Inaccurate, you say? Well, the truth will set you free. No. It's actually just their discretion what's inaccurate and what isn't. Mailchimp will decide what the truth is and apply that.
So where do certain political campaigns go to get Mailchimp type services now?
They make their own, I guess. That's part of the money goes to that.
Because that's where we've become. We're literally going to have red and blue themed technical services.
And then you'll have a blocker that can block that so that you can really just live in your own bubble. Truly.
I never see any colored news that I don't want to. And somebody's like, colored news? What?
What?
Moving on to robot. Some exciting, uplifting robot stories. The robot section gives us a little moment of, happiness. Because it's rarely a terrible robot story. Although sometimes robots, accidentally kill people. But this is not the case. Now imagine, if you will, that you are on a road trip and you get to the halfway mark of 146 million miles. Certainly you've earned a Mountain Dew, perhaps a Slim Jim, maybe some Gardettos or combos.
Oh, those are disgusting.
Those are prime gas station.
Which one don't you like?
I don't like Gardettos or combos. Combos are especially disgusting.
How many flavors have you tried?
Just the default flavor.
I don't even know what that is. Is that the pretzel and cheese or?
Yeah, it was almost like a pimento cheese consistency, but it was a really offensive taste.
Now the pizza ones I think are kind of nasty.
The pizzas are good.
Oh, you like the pizzas? I don't like the pizzas.
I like the pizzas, and I like Gardettos are great too. We buy those just for home sometimes.
Oh wow. Now there's going to be some comments, but those are the kind of comments that's actually good. Anyway, Perseverance, living up to its name, it's going a long way.
NASA's Perseverance rover is midway to Mars. Woo, a new rover. Red Rover, can Perseverance come on over?
146 million miles to go. That's not a straight line. There's their approach. So we are here.
Nice.
It's going to get there, and it's going to study the planet and get ready for Elon Musk's, I'll show the headline. Future world where he's some kind of demigod. Makes his own rules.
It's got the red carpet with the gold embroidery on board for his arrival. It's going to roll it out under the rocket where his rocket's going to land.
What? His kid's a boy, right?
I think so.
I mean, I know that's controversial to say, but what if because the kid's got the weird name, what if he sends him to control Mars?
Well,
He doesn't have like 6 other kids.
It's more and more like a Dune novel every day.
I don't think he likes the other kid. I think he's kind of like Trump. He's got kids with all different women, but only the current one interests him. But the kid's got the weird name, so like it's totally a sci-fi dystopian. I mean, it's perfect, right? The other NASA robot that we need to talk about is the one. Now we talked about this. I guess we talked about it last week, right? The one that flew in step with the asteroid, and then really deftly got down there and just gobbled up a bunch of the rocks. And there was a question.
It went a little more Hulk smash than expected.
Well, there was a question. So that right now they were trying to decide: do we bring it home or do we go for another gobble? And we weren't supposed to know, and we weren't supposed to do the second gobble until January. But now we actually do know early because it was so good. It was like a hungry hippo just down there.
NASA probe is now so full of asteroid material that it now has a problem. So they've got the camera on board, and the little grabber probe thing, it didn't fully close because it was so full of crap. And so this article talks about how they plan to stow it. Well, as of the time that we're recording this, just a few hours ago, they posted a story about how, yes, they did successfully stow it. So any material that was sort of oozing out of the grabber will be contained in the stowed bay, and we can do the earlier rendezvous because we don't need to do a second pass in January because we got a crap ton of material.
So
what a way of describing it, oozing.
It's definitely not oozing.
Well, the little chamber was jammed because it just got so much it couldn't close.
So exciting times.
And that's how the warp demons will get in. That's coming back.
I thought you were going to say the Andromeda strain. It's like this is the opening chapter of the Andromeda strain.
COVID 2021 is on that, coming back right now.
Yeah, sadly, I think that COVID 2020. Oh, I shouldn't say it.
We should say
the thing 2021 will still be the thing 2021 for all of 2021. Yeah. I did not realize when you watch sports on TV, you think, God, those cameramen are really good at keeping track of where that little ball is going. Well, it turns out it's all robotic, but robots have flaws.
Robot Cam confuses lineman's bald head for a football in Scotland. So the cameraman's robotic, but the announcer is not. So some of the recordings of the announcer trying to deal with the robot, especially before he realizes what's going on, is amazing.
So you can see the sun is kind of, at a weird angle here. And it's the guy, it wasn't a referee on the field, he was a lineman. So he was standing on the sidelines, and every time the ball would go past him, the camera was just lock onto him and stay there, and the ball would continue on.
And the announcer was like, what?
It does look like a soccer ball.
It's like, can you wear a hat? Somebody send a runner down to that guy. He needs to wear a hat.
Uber has they're having a bad time because people aren't riding in Ubers. Obviously, when we're not supposed to be around other people, and you don't want to lock yourself in a little tiny chamber with a stranger. And unfortunately, that leads to a lot of firing. And they have a particular way of doing it that's kind of disgusting.
Uber has been sued by drivers over automated robo-firing. This is in London. So the algorithm is just like, you're not a good fit for Uber. And that's it. That's the end of it. There's nothing more.
You basically get ghosted. They talked to several people, and one guy, he was a full-time Uber driver. Like, that was his job. And he said he got in the car one morning and tried to log in, and it was like, oh, I'm sorry. You're not an Uber driver anymore. So he was like, well, why? And the excuse that the app gave him was fraudulent activity. And he was like, okay, well, I'm sure that's not true. Let's talk about this. Why don't you just tell me what it is? And a year later, he can't talk to a human being. The robot decided his time was over, and his time was over.
Meanwhile, the real fraudsters are cackling and getting away with whatever it is that they're up to. Like the Kafka-esque nightmare that we currently live in, requires.
Well, the stress of this situation could cause all sorts of issues. We might get some ulcers. We might get some digestive issues because, all this horrible stuff going on.
I return to field medicine because gathering for medical care is also a risk.
But good news, when your guts rot away from all the fear and anger that is roiling inside of you, we have a new tool to fix them.
All-terrain micro-robot flips through a live colon. It's the size of 3 or 4 human hairs across. They've got a picture of it on a penny.
It's Flippy's little brother. Look at him go.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's this is Flippy. We should petition to have him named Flippy. There it is on the penny. It's just a few pixels on your screen, but look at that little guy. It's also organic, or not really organic, but biocompatible. So it's not like you're eating carbon nanotubes, which are extraordinarily bad.
Why would you want this little guy in your colon? Well, it turns out that the hope is not only can he be used for diagnostic purposes, but also to deliver medicine, which might otherwise, melt your stomach or something like that.
Yeah.
That's an animal colon, not a human colon. Human colon would actually be much bigger because obviously that was very large inside that little tiny tube. But they envision just fleets of these guys just roaming around inside your body.
Just flipping around.
Yeah. And power system, you're thinking, well, how do you power them? Actually, that is an electromagnetic field from outside. So they'll just put you on a table, fill you full of robots, and then drive them around with an electromagnet.
The same force that could suck a folding metal chair from across the room will power the robots that will heal you.
I'm sure there won't be any situations where they forget those right before they do the MRI.
Getting closer and closer to the episode of the Magic School Bus where they shrunk the bus and went into one of the characters' bodies.
I have this weird stabbing pain, and there's little red dots on the ceiling of the MRI. What's happening?
This is what it feels like to die at the hands of Magneto.
Waymo, we learned recently that Waymo was, in Phoenix at least, full autonomous, no driver. You could participate that. And it looks like they're taking all the things that they've learned there, moving into new fields.
Waymo and Daimler are teaming up to build a fully driverless semi-trucks, and they've got some pictures there. It looks quite a bit farther along than Nikola's self-driving truck. It seems more legit. I don't know. I mean, I'm just some internet bozo, but it seems like it's more legit.
So you got this little piece that they put on top that has all the sensors and everything, and I guess these are cameras on the front. So I guess you could retrofit older trucks if you wanted to. This is level 4. Now remember that what was Autopilot's level 2 or level 3?
Yeah, it's not. I think it's level 2.
Level 5 is the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
So this is level 4.
It's close. But I mean, for interstate driving and for airport to hub driving or anything like that, it's perfect.
Although if it goes wrong,
yeah,
that's a huge liability because those trucks are just they can cause many traffic accidents. Well, many that affects many people.
Many millions of dollars of problems in one mishap.
Oh, well, with liability, to talk about millions, I mean hundreds of millions. So we'll see. It's interesting world where the semis are automated. What will they do for the already decimated jobs picture?
And surely the truckers can reskill Linode.com.
Linode.com/desperate truckers.
We actually do have a few truckers in our audience that have reskilled successfully, so congratulations.
Big Trucker from Twitch. I think he's still a trucker, but he has a deep interest in technology.
We've had a few of them post on the forum. I mean, it's good stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, this is not any new information, I'll admit, but I take any excuse I can to talk about Flippy. And we celebrate Flippy getting a new contract.
White Castle to expand implementations with Miso Robotics and target up to 10 new locations following pilot. Check out how much they retrofit their kitchen to make the kitchen safe for Flippy. Look, all that blast glass and...
So he won't fling hot grease onto the other employees.
Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting you humans are not immune to boiling hot grease. My bad.
So, yeah, I don't... it'd be cool to find out where these locations are. We have a White Castle here. I don't think we'll get a Flippy.
No, I think we're probably the bottom of the list to get a Flippy.
There's so many robot jokes from Futurama that are now applicable. It's amazing.
Now, this one was a late edition. I actually didn't get a chance to read it, but Krista did. And, man, is this great. Actually, right, yeah. This is our last story, but we have some supplementary tab. So, Chris, take it away with this one.
Virtual influencers make real money while COVID locks down human stars. You know, the meme of, like, people putting on clown makeup? That's how I felt reading this story. This is a story about virtual influencers, people who, according to the people who make these kind of bots, they're great because they don't get older, they don't die, and you can control them 100%. And this is apparently now a very popular trend.
Emma. IMMA. So Emma has 300,000 Instagram followers, and
turns out not a real person.
You have to admit, these are realistic pictures.
Yeah, so I read this article at first, and I was like, I saw the picture, and I just assumed it was like, a random photo. But when you read the article and then you look up her Instagram, I wouldn't know necessarily, just reading her description and looking through her photos, that this was a bot.
But it's not just a bot, it's a well-funded bot. And see, this is where it gets potentially dangerous, because it's Riot that is doing this. And so how long, like, somebody inside Disney saw this article, and they've already gotten a blank check to just do whatever. And so Disney is already building at least a half a dozen of these.
They've got the old samples that they kept of Miley Cyrus's DNA, and they're trying to mix that in with robotics to somehow recreate the Hannah Montana magic.
Yeah,
Quick!
This is great because, too, like, with all the COVID restrictions, real human influencers can't go anywhere and promote products, but, like, the bot can.
Quick, mate, get me the Imagineer that came up with robot Trillery hump or whatever, because if you've seen that robot in the Hall of Robots, it's totally the Hillary Clinton robot with a Trump mask.
How much do you think this bot's getting paid?
At 400,000 followers on Instagram, it's probably already earning a lot of money. Although
but she also creates content for other stuff too.
Oh yeah.
Wow, there's also a fake dog. Oh, I don't know. It could be a real dog, I guess. There's a fake dog that she links, like her dog's profile. Wow. That's impressive.
There's like an alert at Disney. It's like, he's gone mad. He's gone too far. He's mixed Miley Cyrus with Britney Spears. We can't have that level of celebrity.
She also links her fake boyfriend, and when you click on his profile, it says, "I'm a virtual human in the fake plastic Earth."
Is that him? Is this him in this picture?
Guy?
This guy? Looks like an Asian guy. Oh, you can't look at it because we're not Instagram logged in.
Yeah, you can if you open it in a new tab. Hot tip, chat. No, there's up at the top where she links like other things.
Oh, he's a lot more Uncanny Valley than she is.
Is he fake though? She says Tokyo, Japan. Is she visiting?
I think this guy's fake as well. Plastic boy.
I don't know.
We're living in a weird reality. We'll never know. You won't be able to trust anybody, and think about the video implications eventually.
I look forward to horrors far darker and worse than Frankenstein's monster in the years to come. Between ad agencies and the Disney Corporation, it's going to be amazing.
But we knew to fear Frankenstein's monster because he was a monster. We won't know to fear these people.
Yeah.
That's the terrifying part.
Not only will we embrace our new robot overlords, we'll contribute to their OnlyFans. All right, Krista, give me a M of the robot goodbye.
Goodbye.